RWBY's toxic fandom. Let's be honest, guys, regardless of what you take an interest in, odds are there is always going to be a few bad eggs that try to spoil everything for everyone else. Sometimes fandoms are divided, but rarely are they ever in perfect harmony, and as far as fandoms go, I'm pretty sure that RWBY has one of the most divided. First and foremost, let me explain what I mean when I say toxic fandom. To me, it is a fandom that isn't necessarily in agreement and spreading hate, but rather the majority of the most talkative players are all on the same side, and if any differing opinion is brought up, several people will beat it down, and usually not with facts. RWBY's fandom can be split up into two categories: the shippers and the regulars. See what I did there? So the regulars are your everyday average viewers that enjoy the content, story, and follow along willy-nilly, just they don't care too much. They have a few content creators among them that provide fan art, wholesome fan fiction, or discuss RWBY in a casual manner, just the basics. The shippers are those special people among the community that would rather have the story of RWBY be dragged through the dirt, just so their favorite pairing can take place. May the old gods have mercy on you if you say a ship name that they don't agree with or question their reasoning for it in the first place. You'll find this side of the pond has produced a very, very, very large amount of hentai dedicated to their cause. I mean, seriously, guys, it's kind of ridiculous. It's all the same. Now, I call them shippers, but as of recent, these particular fans seem to be in stark denial for the obvious changes done to RWBY and are determined to see the bright side, even if they have to gouge out their own eyes to do so. For example, if I were to say something like, Bumblebee is implausible and makes no sense. FBI, open up! Anyway, in fan art and fan fiction, it really doesn't matter too much what you choose to believe. I'm not new to the anime scene, but something bothers me about American-esque underage girls being overly sexualized by equally underage girls. Still, I can understand it, and it is your anime given right to ship whoever you want with whatever you want, regardless of the impossibilities or the improbabilities. I now fully endorse Mercury shipping with Oscar. Who are you to tell me it's wrong? Seriously. But the moment you legitimately argue and insult people to get your point across, well, it's kind of safe to say that you've already dug yourself a hole. Fandom is breaking down and becoming more toxic, undoubtedly. I feel this is partly due to the writers themselves blatantly shoehorning in these Bumblebee hints. Now, I won't argue the point right now, but at what point have these two ever been even remotely implied as sexual? They've been friends and not even really close friends. Blake inadvertently caused Yang to lose an arm and straight up abandon her for no logical reason. Why are they suddenly holding hands and hugging and acting like they've always been in love forever? Well, I'll tell you why. Because they want you guys, the fans, to keep watching. They inserted this couple so you guys would think, hey, it's possible. Hey, it might happen. When we all know the second they write this in, it's game over. And that's not even just to hate on the fact of two people of the same sex loving. It's just how unestablished it is. It's like you have characters like Jean and Pierre who are kind of, being established as romantically interested in one another. And then you have these two who are just like, duh, friends. Now, the regulars are my favorite type of fans. Several times I've encountered one, had a legitimate and interesting discussion with them, and once or twice they changed a previously negative opinion of mine about an anime or TV show or a movie. It's different now. When Volume 6 was coming out, I would comment on it and explain why something didn't make sense, and dear God, the amount of people that chimed in to bash me or call me stupid and told me to stop commenting, so naturally I just kept on doing it for every single episode. Now, I do have some good news. Odds are, you fall into the category of regulars. That's right, you. You guys tend to be fairly open-minded and willing to engage in healthy debate with one another. I enjoy that, and naturally I implore you to ignore blatantly hateful points. But almost anywhere else, odds are you guys are the minority, and I'm sure at times you read something so ridiculous you felt like writing out a whole book on why it was wrong in response. And you know what? You should. Compile the facts, cite your sources, and brace against the inevitable barrage of insults. Because you know what? The second someone insults you in the face of facts, you've won. RWBY's fandom is, well, it's a problem, and there's not really much else that can be said about it. You know, it's not really, I wouldn't say it's just because a lot of their fandom is younger people, because almost everybody that I've met that, you know, sincerely watches it, they're around my age, which is around the 20s. And even when I was in the army, you know, a bunch of my buddies, I would get them into the show and they would watch it, and, you know, there's a large fan base, and a lot of those people, they just don't even care enough to argue with people on the internet because they realize it's pointless and you can't get anything from it. But when all the voices that are arguing or talking are all these shippers who want certain things, the writers are obviously going to listen to them because they're the only ones speaking up about it. They have a very one-sided poll to go off of, you know what I'm saying? So if you find something that's wrong with it and you want to state your opinion on it, do it. Even if it's in direct contradiction with me, just tell me what you think, because nothing helps a fandom more than fans telling what they think and their own opinions, and being able to accept those opinions and not lash out at each other like a bunch of, you know, fucking children. Even if you're underage, you know what? I know you can do it too, because I find people that are underage tend to be a little bit more, you know, casual, easygoing about it. They don't really care too much unless they are from the denomination of like LGBTQ, or they're lesbian or they're gay. Then they'll usually have a very distinct opinion, and it's usually fairly easily set off if you say, hey, this ship doesn't make sense and it's not going to happen. Which isn't to say, hey, being a lesbian is bad. It's just saying these two characters have no established romantic feelings for one another, and the only reason you even want them to rub bits together is because you like both the characters. You liking the characters should not dictate the characters being in love, obviously. And if there's no romance, what's the point? And despite that, it's an action anime. Why would we even care if a bunch of chicks are making out? It doesn't make sense. It just... whatever.